very warm welcome to December, and we have a very special, fantastic guest today, the lovely Irina Rojnova.
Yes.
There we go. I knew I'd get my tongue around it. Irina, thank you so much indeed for coming on today. Obviously, you run your own business, and today we're talking about what they don't tell you about running your own business. And I think we could probably fill hours and hours and hours of content. So certainly when I was writing the notes for this, it was like, God, yeah, there's no handbook. There's no handbook at all. Irina, whilst we sort of, I'm just going to check and make sure we are live on the internet. We're not just talking to ourselves. You run a company called Story Bros, which is a digital marketing agency specializing in bringing websites to life through stories. And you are an international company. I know that you're specifically based in Nancy in France, offices in London. But I know last week or this week, you've just flown back from Washington, D.C. So this is really quite glamorous. Why don't you just give people a little bit of a rundown of Story Bros and your background and what you were doing in D.C. this week?
Oh my gosh, yes. Thank you. Thank you so much, Miles. And first of all, I'm really happy to be here today. Thank you for the invitation.
You're welcome.
So I just flew back from Washington, D.C. I just came back last night. So a bit jet lagged still, so sorry about that. At Story Bros, it's not only about the websites, right? It's building the stories of brands and of people, of organizations. And one of those organizations we are working with, we are partnering with, it's CVCT. It's Cardiovascular Clinical Trialists Forum, right? And this forum is held once a year, and it's an absolutely fantastic event, which is held in DC, which explains my over-ocean experience, right? And yes, we are helping them organize the event and bring the message across, right? Also through the website, through social media, and through the mindset as well. That is very, very important part.
Wow. Well, jet set lifestyle for you. Maybe that's something they don't tell you about running your own business, right? Who'd have thought you'd have been flying across the pond? Right. Well, we're gonna dive straight into things. I'm gonna say from the outset that if you're interested in chatting to Irina, then her email is on the screen. You can check her out on social media and on her website as well. So please do that. But as always, I encourage you to drop any questions that you may have in the chat. And the big question we're asking everyone today is, do you prefer being employed or being self-employed? We're really interested to understand what you feel about this. So, Irina, I'm going to start by saying that running your own business is hard. Right?
Yes. Otherwise, everyone would have been doing this, right?
Yeah, maybe we could just we could stop the whole thing now and just say that it's hard.
Get some cocktails.
Yeah, but I'm going to caveat that with the fact that it's extremely rewarding. For me personally, I was employed all of my adult life and I got my paycheck every month, come what may. Whether I did a good job or a bad job, I still got paid. But I'm going to say that my first invoice, when I had that paid, and pretty much every time another invoice gets paid, there's such a feeling of accomplishment, right?
Absolutely, yes. And even more when you start paying your team. And with every time you pay your team, it's like, I've accomplished something, right? It's no more for you, it's for someone else.
Yeah, and I think that maybe this is one of the things that they don't tell you about running your own business. When you have employees or when you have suppliers and those suppliers send you their invoices, me personally, the way I like to run my business is pretty much as soon as those invoices come in and as soon as the date is set for my employees, I pay them. Yeah. I don't think it's a nice practice to keep your suppliers waiting. The vast majority of them are small businesses as well. And what I'm going to say is this: your suppliers are far more likely to help you out when you've got a problem or when you need them to jump on something quickly because you pay them on time versus, spending the 28 days, if you like, holding on to their money before you pay them.
It is very true, but once again, that is from the ideal point of view, right? And in what they don't tell you about running a business, that if you don't get, your company doesn't get paid, in right time, and
it's cash flow, isn't it?
Exactly, yes. In this case, well, first of all, your employees should get paid. I mean, that's a must, a complete must. That's the first thing to do in any case scenario. But all the providers, etc., they come second. And I have seen a couple of friends that have not been paid like for 60 days. And it's understandable as well, because you can manage with a certain amount of cash flow, but when it's tight, you do what you can.
Oh, look, absolutely. I was talking about sort of my ideal approach, if you like, and I do understand that people do need to juggle cash flow, especially for people like me and yourself, I guess, because my clients will need a product or a service, and part of what I do, I go out and I procure that product or service. So every single month I've already had the outlay, I don't know, let's say my Christmas time, mugs, calendars, I've paid all that money out, the thousands of pounds to produce these things, but I'm not going to get my money until my client's been invoiced and they've paid me in, I don't know, 3-4 weeks time.
Yes, absolutely. Same here. And I think we're not the only ones to be in the same situation, right? So note to those who employ the companies like ours, right?
Yep.
Please pay in time.
Yeah, and I look, you're absolutely right. Please pay on time. And I think the message for the business owners is try and build up as much of a buffer in the bank as you can. Don't leave yourself sort of low, because again, what they don't tell you is that people like the VAT man, they don't wait for anyone. So what I would say specifically about when you go VAT registered, set yourself up a separate bank account just for your VAT payments, and every time you get paid, including VAT, you move that across, because again, you can get yourself into a false sense of security. Oh, I've got all this money coming in, but some of it isn't yours.
Exactly. That is the point. Not all of this is yours.
Not all of this is yours, because also you do have to pay tax. And I was going to come on to this a little bit later, but one of the things that I didn't know about running your own business is that actually you can be really quite efficient with the way in which you pay yourself. My wages, if you like, the amount of money that I pay myself each month is really quite low, because it's more tax efficient for me to pay myself in dividends, where you get a lower threshold, about 20%, I think, is you pay on that. So, and you don't have to pay that until you're settling up your tax bill at the end of the year. So I know there's a business tax to go on, and obviously there's personal tax. However, it does seem to me that I keep more of my money in terms of running a company versus being an employee.
Absolutely, yes. But it is really funny because sometimes you pay your employees more than you pay yourself.
Um, this is case in point. I do, yes, but that that's specific around the fact that I don't want to pay any more tax than I actually have to, I guess. Yeah,
Yeah.
and let's face it, I'm going to be the one that doesn't get paid, right? Because it's important to pay your staff, right?
Absolutely, yes. Because your staff goes, they always have the first place in
Yep,
everything, right?
definitely.
And that is a leadership role. The first one is to pay your staff, and the second one, or maybe at the same place as the first one, to keep them safe and to let them feel their selves safe
Mm.
in your company, right?
Oh, absolutely. And I think there's a lot put on the shoulders of business owners when they take on staff, because maybe you haven't managed people before, and it's a whole new level of complexity, right? And I don't know how you find it, but oh, I'm ill, or my children are ill, or I can't come in today.
Mhm. Of course, I mean, the human factor is the most complex factor in business. And there's nothing more personal than business. There's nothing more human than business, right? So basically, of course, you need to deal with, they might get ill, they might lose friends, parents, etc.
Hmm.
The children might have problems. They might have personal problems
Hmm.
that they will not communicate to you, right? But still, they will not be efficient because of that. So you need to be a psychologist inside of your company. You really do, because you need to get, to understand that everything and everyone is doing well, in all parts of their lives, to be efficient at work.
Yeah, I did hear actually that one of the best perks that you can give your employees is some kind of therapist. Because
Yeah,
the amount of money it would cost you to pay a therapist for an hour, your employees are going to get you're going to get a lot more back off your employees, because you're sorting out their problems.
it is really funny because we had one of the clients. We've been organizing an event for him, for her, and during the week before the event, like the whole team was going nuts, like really crazy, because everything went wrong. I mean, something that didn't depend on us, but still, And I was really starting thinking about a therapist for the whole group, for the whole team. Was
Mm.
like, it might be a solution.
Well, there we go. You never know. You never know.
Exactly, yes.
Um, we've been talking about staff. Let's talk about clients, because I mean, I'm going to say, like, when you set up your business, you've got this ideology of how it's all going to go, right? You're going to take over the world. You're going to hit all of your targets. You're
The
going to have
first one.
you're going to have more clients than you know what to do with. But
Mhm.
let's talk about awkward clients. I mean, let's hope that they're not watching.
Don't say anything. We still have a reputation to keep, right?
Yeah.
Yes, of course. It's like with all the human beings, right? You will have some of them that will be amazing and brilliant and easygoing and easy to work with, and you have the other lot, and you need to deal with both.
Yeah. The the big sort of issue, I suppose, that I get, and I'm guessing that you do as well, is wanting to pay very little and expecting to get a lot.
I think all of us get the same problem, right? Because I don't know. I think it's our fault as well, because when we start companies, right, we cannot charge a lot because we don't have a reputation yet.
Hmm.
Clients don't know how exactly do we work, and we let them bill, charge us, charge less than we should, right? And at some point, when you start no, telling them, in fact, our cost is that and not that, right? Or you lose clients
Yep.
because they will find someone else who charge that.
Hmm.
That's the first option. Or the second option, they will get angry with you, right? Because but you're doing the same job. Yes, we do.
Mm.
But 5 years later, we are more professional than 5 years before.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. I had a client a couple of weeks ago, and they sort of said, "Oh, Miles, I thought when I was like looking into you, I thought that your charges were quite high, but they said, but I can see why you would charge that much because you put in the homework beforehand, you delivered the whole thing very professionally, you followed it up with what you said you were going to do, and obviously the experience that you've got sort of shone through, right? So I get that, but it's quite hard to get that across in the first instance, isn't it? I mean, this is going to sound terrible when I say this out loud, but when I started my company, I was like, well, I've worked for international companies, right? I used to work for Adidas, and I've worked for the world's biggest bookmakers, and I was in charge of all of this budget, and I'm, very talented. Everyone's going to want to work with me. And the reality,
What's happened?
yeah, and the reality is that look, you can dine out on your previous experience and you can utilize the sort of the network that you've got there. But the vast majority of it is about starting again and building a reputation for the company. Because I think what they don't tell you about running a business, Irina, is that the vast majority of your clients, if you're a professional services or a business to business, I'm not talking about selling widgets, but the vast majority of your customers, it comes from word of mouth from a previous customer. And, you start off with those £100 customers and they tell someone else, and you bill £200 the next time, and the next time you're £500, and so on and so forth. You build your momentum that way, isn't it?
Yes, that's exactly how you start. And I mean, that's a logical way to do, right? Because you get better at what you do.
Mm-hmm.
And word of mouth is the way to get your reputation, because I don't know the other way to do this, like to build a strong reputation and keep it going. So yes, of course, it's that's how it evolves, and that's how you grow, and that's how you can teach the others that are around you, right? Your team.
Mm. So in terms of networking, we met each other through networking, but I know that you've got your own little way of networking, and I mean, we can see on the screen, right? You're a very glamorous lady, but you get yourself out to these black tie dinners, don't you?
I do enjoy them a lot. It's all started with a dress, like a really, really good dress. Yeah, I know, it's my person's way of doing things. But I bought this dress and I was telling myself, I need to find an occasion to go out, And that was one of my first, like, really big gala dinners. I've just, went there. In fact, it was in Milan. And
It's getting even more glamorous now. Yeah.
it was the green dinner of the British Chamber of Commerce in Milan. So you had all that fashion public, like the ambassador of for UK in Milan, and other companies, and it was so amazing. And I was like, yeah, I should do this more often.
So just for those that are listening, there are plenty of gala dinners out there. All you need to do is go on the internet and search for gala dinner. So there are these trade bodies and federations and things like Chamber of Commerce where yes, they invite certain people, but they also open it up to others, and you can buy yourself a seat at the table, right?
Absolutely, yes. And you know, that's exactly how you do the business afterwards. You meet people, and more people you meet, more your business will be successful at some point, right?
Yes. It.
As I said, at some point.
Yeah, I know at some point, and we've spoken about this before. We spoke about the sort of the overnight sensation, and the fact that, you know,
How much time it takes to build an overnight success.
it does, and we know that sort of the phrase that it takes 10 years, but it really does take time to perfect your offering and to, like you say, get yourself out there. And it's not just about the dinner where you're sat next to a business owner who gets to know you, because it may not be that the time is right for them to engage in social media marketing or PPC or webs, or they need a new website, right? However, you've made that contact and that personal contact, and I'm guessing those people go into your CRM system and they'll receive an email from Story Bros every now and again reminding them that you're there. And I have definitely seen customers come to me that I met 18 months ago.
It is, yes, it doesn't surprise me at all. I mean, when you build the gala dinners is one thing, the networking plus minus the regular networking is another. But the gala dinners, when you have like the VPs and etc., it's another level, right? You need to have to still keep this contact with human contact with people, right? You do send them personal messages on WhatsApp or whatever. You do take their, you know, what's happened, everything is everything fine? Oh, I'm in Milan, London, doesn't matter where, for a couple of days, up for a coffee. You know, you keep this relationship going because you need to be genuinely interested in their lives, in themselves, in their businesses, and it's human once again. When someone gets interested in your life, in your business, uh, affectionately, you have something for this person, right?
Yeah, and I think that it was something that I was taught a long time ago and this was back in the day before computers, really, right? We had customer record cards. So as a sales rep, we'd have a box of files in our boot, and it would be something where we would mark down what we did when we went into the customer. But on each of the customer's record files, obviously there was their name and their address, but their wife's name, what football team they supported, how they had their tea, whether they liked biscuit, whatever it was, just these nice little things. Because when you go into that customer the following time, you can look at the record card and go, right, he's a Liverpool fan. Let's at least find out what Liverpool did on the weekend. Yes, you can, and that sounds a little bit disingenuous, but it's not, right? You're taking the time to read up, and now sort of record cards for me are now digital, and every time I meet someone, I make those notes, and I meet them again, I look those notes up, right? I mean, it's not rocket science, but it's about making those sort of connections and getting people to think, oh, actually, Miles was listening.
Exactly, yes. And I think it is the extra mile you're going to walk, and it's really people appreciate it a lot. I mean, personally, I appreciate when someone remembers, when my birthday is.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it sounds like, oh, he listened.
Yeah. Even if Facebook did tell you when.
Yes, I know.
So I just want to come back a little bit to the awkward clients bit, right? And I don't think I have I don't think I have like the answer to this, but I'm going to say it's a needs must, right? I had a client a little while ago who, in my opinion, took the complete piss, right? They paid the minimum amount, but they pretty much treated me like I was a full-time employee within their business. And what was quite staggering, we worked together for a while, and after a while I had to plug up the courage to actually say, look, this isn't working.
This is it.
Right, this is it. Because, and I think that we are guilty of putting too much in at the start and setting boundaries. And I think if you talk to like a business coach, they say, oh, you need to set very clear boundaries. Fuck me, we do. You write, you write it out, you send it to them, they sign it, you've got an agreement, there are very clear boundaries, you remind them regularly, but they continue to push and push and push. And this might make you laugh, but when I was sort of getting myself hyped up to have the conversation, I did a search in my emails for all of the emails they'd sent me across 6 months. There was 6,000 emails.
Oh my gosh! Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And then I thought, oh, well, I wonder how many emails my longest standing client has sent me. And I looked that up, and 6,000 in 6 months, 18 months this client's been with me, 320.
And I bet you have a better relationship with this one.
Yeah. Oh, look, 100%. And I think that it took a lot for me to say, enough's enough. Like, we're going to have to stop. You can pay me some more, but they didn't want to pay me some more. Right. But yeah, so I think that boundary setting, don't feel guilty if you try and set it and it doesn't work, right?
Yes, absolutely. But it takes time as well. It takes confidence, and you're building confidence when you start your company. It takes time to build your confidence to say no to clients, to say stop to clients that abuse of your time, of your good willingness, etc., because people will try to abuse you.
Yes. Oh, yes.
What they don't tell you about running a business.
So let's move on then to talk about accountability. What's your take on accountability, Irina?
Well, the golden rule for myself is for my company, give all the credit for everything that's going right to your team, because they deserved it, because they've been working, and they are working hard for you, right? And all the blame to get, you take it on yourself. You take all the responsibility for everything that goes wrong. It's up to you.
You are the captain of the ship.
Yes.
And you are responsible for the destination in which you are heading, right?
And how you're gonna get there as well.
Right? And this brings us on to, and it's a nice little segue. I like the way you've done this. The vision.
Yeah.
The vision that you have and the importance of it. Just talk us through what you do within your company in terms of sharing with your employees your vision.
Well, I've always the first question I always ask, and my clients, like new ones, and the future employees during the interviews, like, what is your why? Why do you do what you do? I mean, and that's a hard one. And I try to communicate with the ones that we recruit at Storyboros, the why of the why of the company, the vision of the company. Why do we do what we do? Once you have this why, this internal fire that is burning inside of you, that will keep you going through, all the hardships, and there will be a lot of hardships if you have a business. Once you have that, it's good.
No, I agree wholeheartedly. I think that, what's important is that you're a little bit flexible around, your why. Your why can evolve. And I think if you start off being a one-person operation, the moment you get employees, maybe your vision of what happens needs to evolve and change. I think it's. I was chatting to my strongman coach the other day, who's doing very, very well for himself. He's relatively new in terms of coaching, but he's been winning lots of titles, right? And he's got something about him. And we were talking about the values that he holds. And I was saying to him, it's really important early on that he identifies what he stands for, and because perception is reality. So, however he comes across, that'll be how people perceive him. And if he can sort of identify 2, 3, 4, 6 things about himself, he can start to portray that in the things he does and the things he says. I think the majority of us do this without thinking, but when you're putting on a public persona, and maybe you're creating branded merchandise, or you're creating a website, or you're posting on social media, you are minded to make sure that the image you portray is the one that you want people to see.
Yes, but it is a question, the transparency, right? You have to be transparent, even with anybody, but because the image of your company, if you try to get a brand vision that is not yours, but you put it out there, at some point people will know. I mean,
Correct.
you cannot fool them for a long time. If you say that, I don't know, people come first at your company and you sack 10 of them like the next month, I'm so sorry, but it's not going to work.
Yeah, I think that, and again, these are conversations I've had with business owners that, and it sounds a little bit sort of like Ponzi, but it's important to recruit the people within your business in line with what you stand for. And I don't just mean employing people like you, but people that are sort of they have the same sort of principles. You want diversity within your business.
But you have to have the people that will look at in the same direction that you, right?
Correct. They're not trying to fight you to go off on a different route or have their own little vanity projects. The next one on the list was leadership. Why is it hard? I don't think we got enough time to cover that.
I think it's another hour if you have some time. Yes, it's leadership is hard because, once again, because of what we've mentioned. You take credit. You don't take credit for. You give the credits or give the credit for all that's been done in a good way, and you take all the responsibility for all that's been done in a wrong way. And I think that is the first part of why the leadership is a hard thing to do.
Yeah, and I think it's important that as a leader of a business providing products and services, that you don't have to be an expert in all of those facets, but it's very important that you understand the principles of all those facets. So, with your business, website, social media, even coming down to events, like, you might not be an expert in all of those things, but you will roll your sleeves up and get stuck in and lead from the front. And I think that that to me is really important, that I am able to pick up the menial tasks as well as doing the sort of the more glamorous stuff.
Yes, exactly. You need to know how to get your hands dirty. It is very important. You need to be able to take risks, sometimes calculated, sometimes you just have to do this to move forward, and you need to be ready for that. Because you are the adventurer, you are the pirate that is going on a mission, right? And
yes, she can. She's telling her stories again.
I'm a storyteller.
I know. Look, I agree. And I think that one of the hardest things, if we use your pirate analogy, is to keep identifying those other boats that you want to attack and steal their loot. The pipeline is one of the things that I find really hard. You know, I work hard to find new customers. I get new customers. Customers come and go. I think that's another thing that they don't tell you. It is a roller coaster, and a lot of the time it's nothing to do with yourself or the service that you offer. You know, there's a million different reasons as to why a business will change what they do and the people that they use. But it's important for you to not rest on your laurels.
Absolutely, yes.
And that you're constantly doing the networking, the communication, keeping that sort of pipeline full, if you like, and topped up with new targets to.
We're very, but it is true, yes, and it's your first responsibility as a company owner. Your first mission, once again, is to bring new clients, right? Because your team will take in charge the rest of the tasks afterwards, right? But you have to bring new clients in the company.
And that is, you know, whose job is it to do that? Well, I mean, you can hire a new business development person, but what I do know is this, that when you have I'm not saying that our businesses are small, but in the grand scheme of things, we run small businesses. People, they're buying from us, right? They're buying they buy from yeah, I mean, they may well like your employees, but ultimately it's Irina that they want to deal with and they want to know that you've had an input into.
Of course, yes, because of course they want Miles to work for them, like not only the team of Miles' team, but Miles, because it's your imprint, right, on what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so keeping that sort of pipeline going. That's pretty difficult and something which is relentless, and certainly when you get employees. Let's talk about one of the big elephants in the room that happens a lot, and it's really quite hard to deal with. I don't think I'm over it yet, but let's talk about this type of customer, Irina. So they meet you, they're really excited. They're like, I want to do business with you. Would you mind having a meeting with me so that we can discuss all of the things that I've got to do? And you're like, yes. And you spend a lot of time researching the company. You have your meeting with them. They take up your time. They're saying, yes, okay, I just need you to quote for me. You do them a quote on the work, you send them the quote. They're like, oh, maybe we could change this, that, and the other. You send them another quote, and then nothing. They fall off the face of the earth. You just get ghosted. And you're like, what?
It's a very lonely feeling, right?
Yeah.
I know. Yes, we had this case. Well, we've been ghosted for 2 weeks after the final quote, right? And the potential client here just got back to us and was telling, well, finally, we don't have enough time, so we'll work with someone we've all worked already with. Like, really?
Thanks.
Yes. And I try to laugh about this because, I mean, and what?
Well, look, I used to be on the other side of this, right, as the client. And I do know that it is very common to get people in just to quote so that you can cross-reference anything against your current supplier, right? And I'm a big boy and I understand that. I think where it becomes hard when you run your own business is that you take it personally, right? And you do put in a lot of time and effort into quoting people on the work. And then it's just so bloody rude, though, isn't it? Like, I'm old enough that you can say to me, Miles, you were too expensive. I didn't like your ideas. I don't like you. Like,
Exactly. I'd prefer to have this type of response, right? This type of answer, direct. We don't like you. We don't want to work with you. Okay, I'm fine. I'll survive
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. But to be emailing me constantly for like 2 or 3 weeks, and then to not even reply to my email and say it's a no from us, Miles. It's like, so that's something I'm going to say that I don't think I'm ever going to get used to. But
no, I don't. I think humanly it's impossible, right?
Yeah, I'll try and get a thicker skin in terms of being ghosted. So I guess we're getting to the end of our little chat today, Irina. It's been fantastic to understand a little bit more about what you think that people don't tell you about running your own business. It sounds to me like you're extremely good at running your own business and certainly looking after the staff that are working for you. But this is the question I want to ask the viewers. The big question is, work for yourself or work for others? Irina, maybe you can kick us off by giving us your answer. Work for yourself or work for others?
For myself. I'm such a huge individualist. I mean, it's off the plate, right? Now, I've been working for someone for different types of companies during 11 years, and I was never happy, like truly happy. I worked for 35 hours a week. It was fine. But at some point, I understood it. No, I need to be in charge to be happy. Even if I work the triple of that, it's fine for me. So that is the question. What about you?
So I worked for other people for the best part of 30 years, right? and I wish I'd gone and worked for myself sooner. For me, it's the satisfaction that I talked about in terms of earning your money and feel like you earn the money. Even though we've talked a lot today about the negatives, that things are hard, if I want to go out this afternoon, I can. I haven't got to ask anybody's permission as to what I do. I'm going to go and have my lunch now. Well, it's up to me what time I have my lunch. Nobody's going to tell me. No. One of my friends uses this expression. You're not the boss of me. and it's a lovely one. And it's just, I'm in charge of my own diary. If I want to,
if I want to work on vacation, I will work on vacation.
Yeah. And do you know what? Like, because there is reward there, and I have been on vacation and I have had to work, although I did try my very best to make sure that I, didn't work while I was away. But it's fine, right? I mean, ultimately, running your own business is a lifestyle choice, I would say. And certainly with, the internet and Zoom and the fact that you're in France and I'm in London, we could be anywhere in the world having this conversation. It's really helped us have that sort of flexibility, because only a few years ago, Irina, we'd have had to arrange to have met up in person to do this.
We're still trying to do so.
Oh, well, we will. Yeah. Well, of course we will. But, that's on our terms, though, isn't it? And so for me, I should have done it sooner. So I'm going to say to people watching this, let us know in the comments what you prefer. I totally understand getting paid every month regardless and not having to worry about it.
It's a security net, right? And
here's one thing that I'll say, Irina, that there are plenty of side hustles that you can do these days. And if you're employed and you're thinking about branching out, but you don't want to sort of take the risk, well, you are going to have to put some work into it. So why don't you start small in your own time? Because let's face it, the world these days is 24/7. It's not just 9 to 5. So I would challenge most people that they can, get out there and start their own business, even if it's in a really, really small way, to start off with.
I think, Miles, when you want to do something, right, you figure out finally how to do this.
Yes.
It's a question of motivation. So we have all the digital tools we want to make it faster and easier and everything. But the question is really, do you want it or not?
Yeah. And that's what has to get you out of bed, or to keep yourself awake once you've flown across the pond. Irina, it's been wonderful. We should definitely do this again. We will definitely meet in real life.
Yes.
and have a little martini at some stage. But thank you so much indeed for coming on today. Like I said, if you're not connected to Irina, then please drop her a line on her Gmail there at Story Bros. Check her out on social media. Connect with her on LinkedIn. Rojnova.
Yes.
Irina Rojnova. It has been an absolute pleasure. And I'm grateful to networking and having met you in the first place. So
I'm really grateful for having met you, because you're a wonderful person and wonderful professional, and it's an honor to
you know what? Thank you so much indeed for reading exactly out what I'd sent you. So look, until next time, I guess there's going to be Christmas and New Year now in the way. Enjoy the festive season, Irina, and to all you viewers, and we will see you again in the new year.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you. Thanks, Irina. Bye-bye.